Hello and welcome to the All Sports Network YouTube channel, for I am Jack Trulio, and the NBA Finals start tomorrow, so no better time to do our predictions and previews than today, so I will be getting into those. But before I do that, please, if you haven't already, subscribe to the channel, like the video, and share it to your friends that enjoy basketball content, because Eddie and I really appreciate it. Now let's get into the video. I want to start off by saying that this is an awesome final series, and this will be really good. I don't think that there should be any asterisks around either of these teams if they win the title. I know that they both, gotten there because of easier things, because of injuries. Like, honestly, if we learned the Nets, if healthy, probably most likely would have beaten the Bucks in 5 or even swept them, honestly, in my opinion. But still, the Bucks had to endure their own injuries and everything, and they're here. Injuries are part of sports, and one thing that I find really interesting, I don't remember what podcaster I was listening to, I can't give him credit, but he really hit on it perfectly. It's like football, if you stay healthy throughout the year, if it's toughness. Basketball, it's just like, oh, you got lucky. So it's like, well, maybe it's the toughness, maybe things went their way, maybe they're the team of destiny. And like, same with the Suns, you'd be like, well, if the Lakers are healthy, they don't beat the Lakers, and that might be true. Maybe it isn't, but these teams are still here, so we got to give them credit and can't just crap on them. And this is honestly gonna be a really good series. It's kind of funny, I told Eddie on the podcast, I was like, I don't think this will happen, but the series I want is Suns Bucks, because each time they played each other in the regular season, they matched up really well. The Suns won both games by one being in overtime and one being almost at the buzzer. I think Booker hit a big shot to pretty much seal it. So both of the games that these teams have played against each other, at least in the regular season, were really good. And matchup wise, they really match up really well with each other. So I think it's going to be a fun, interesting series. But the one, the biggest wrinkle is Giannis. Is he going to be healthy? Because in my opinion, I think this is going to sound crazy to a lot of people, but if Giannis isn't really like 90+%, like, I wouldn't play him. Like, just because of his play style, he's not really helping anyone if he's not healthy, especially defensively and offensively. He has so much of an offensive load and is inside and just bogging up the paint. Like, one of the things that I think we've learned is that Brook Lopez and Giannis shouldn't be on the same team together anymore. I know that sounds crazy, but I think I just learned that, like, they're probably just both better off without each other. Just opening up the space, because the paint, excuse me. And you're like, oh well, Brook Lopez, spaces the floor. It's like, yeah, but he's not that great with 3-point shooter. I know he's a good one. It's 35+%. That's good. But that's not the ideal role for Brook Lopez, just him standing at the 3-point line, because he's not real mobile, so he's not really creating anything off ball for himself or opening anyone up. So I think that they would be better off on separate teams, in my opinion at least. So, like I was saying, if you don't have healthy Giannis, that doesn't really help your team, because that just makes the spacing a lot worse. And with the spacing, and I don't want this to seem like I'm crappy on Giannis, because I'm a big Giannis guy. I think Giannis is awesome. He gets way too much hate, and you're obviously way better off with Giannis. With Giannis, you have a chance to win the series, in my opinion. Without him, you don't. But one thing I haven't, not enjoyed, but I think noticed, that the Bucks have obviously a lot better spacing when Giannis has been out. I don't think that necessarily means that they're a better team without him, like I was saying. But if he's not healthy, that just screws the spacing, like I was saying. So you really need healthy Giannis for you to have a chance. And defensively, if he's not good to go, you're pretty much screwed, in my opinion, because it's going to be hard for the Bucks to switch, in my opinion, because the Suns are, especially with their ball handlers, between Chris Paul and Devin Booker, are really good at finding mismatches and just attacking those. And I think that switching-wise with Brook Lopez, that's a mismatch, because he does not have the foot speed to move with Chris Paul or Devin Booker. And if you play him in the drop coverage, CP3 and Devin Booker are, especially CP3, are pick and roll maestros, and they're two of the best mid-range guys in the league. And then if you want to play up, Ayton's always a lob threat, so I think that's going to be tough for the Bucks. So you really need Giannis to be healthy, so then you can at least do some switching, or he can do his be a free safety, fly around and help stuff like that. Another interesting wrinkle for the Bucks, in my opinion, is, are they going to go small? Because at the end of game 2 that went to overtime, Bucks Suns, the Bucks went small when Giannis got hurt. He rolled his ankle on a block, and they took out Brook Lopez, so they went small with Tucker. It was DiVincenzo at the time, but it would be Connaughton now. So I wonder if they'll go small rather than go big at times. I think at first, they always do this. It's the Patton and Bucks thing, is the drop coverage. They love, that's their thing. They're going to play the drop coverage and see how it goes the first couple games. But yeah, Giannis is the key in the series, because I think without Giannis, honestly, it'll still be pretty good, because they're still somewhat even. It's obviously to the Suns. I think that the Suns are even better with Giannis. I think without Giannis, it's wrapped up in 5 or 6. With healthy Giannis, I think it's 6 or 7. Just to be safe, I'm going to go Suns in 6 as my final prediction, and I'll get into more of why I think that the Suns will win. But I think it'll be interesting if the Bucks go small, if they stay with their big lineup. This is without Giannis. If Giannis is healthy, then they'll go with their Brook Lopez, Giannis lineup and whatnot, keeping that the same. The Suns love to get corner threes. That is one of their things that they look for in their pick and roll. They kick out the threes. They create, screens and all that to open up the corner three. And something that the Bucks are really good at is, and they were the best in the league this year, was defending the corner. So that'll be interesting if the Bucks will be able to continue that. Maybe, I don't know if it has anything to do with Giannis being in and out of the lineup, but it's really just going to unfortunately come down to Giannis' health. It sounds like he's eventually going to play in the series. I believe the report is, I'm recording this as of 9:30 on Monday night, that he is doubtful. So, yeah, honestly, I didn't expect him to play in Game 1. Try and give him the most rest as possible. I think ideally, if you're the Bucks, you would love to get him back Game 3 and the series tied up 1-1. We'll see how that goes, or if that's what they do. Because, like I said, it's kind of a wrap for the Bucks without Giannis. And like I said, either way, with or without Giannis, I have the Suns. But at least with Giannis, you have more superstars, and the series will be probably a bit more entertaining. But either way, I think it'll be entertained with the likes of what Drew Holiday does defensively, PJ Tucker, see what he has against Booker and Paul, or who he starts out on. Because that's the biggest thing to me is without Giannis, I think kind of what I'm looking forward to most in Game 1 is, and when he's back too, is the matchups. How do the Bucks play this? Is Tucker on Devin Booker? Is it Middleton? Is it Drew? Is it just playing it by the hot hand? Because I like the idea of Tucker possibly, just harassing Devin Booker like Pat Bev did. But honestly, I just think that Tucker's too slow at the end of the day to guard Booker. But we'll see. He's done a great job on many guards, many players. We saw what he did against Durant, who's a bit slower than Booker, but nonetheless, he did a good job on Durant, even though Durant's just a beast. He's gonna score whatever he wants to. That's just how good he is. So that'll be interesting to see what the Bucks do matchup wise, and I'm interested what the Suns do as well on the flip side, because I think it would be in the Suns' best interest to put CP3 on PJ Tucker, give him some rest there, and kind of play it like that between Booker and CP3, whoever needs the most rest, switching between Tucker and Holiday. Because I think that probably at the end of the day, Bridges will be on Middleton. If Giannis plays, I would believe that Ayton would be on Giannis, in my opinion. Maybe Lopez. That'll be an interesting matchup between those two. Lopez being able to stretch the floor, Ayton being way more athletic big, how that, kind of contrasting styles going against each other there should be interesting as well. I think overall, it just kind of be an interesting series. I think it'll be a good series, honestly. I would expect, especially sounds like Giannis is going to play eventually, and hopefully he's going to be all right. He's looked good on the bench, so I don't know if that, what I mean? It's hard to, dictate whether or not Giannis is going to be good on the series, celebrating being on the bench. He didn't look too gimpy, but we'll end up seeing. I'll end on this stat. I found this kind of interesting. The Bucks have been the worst three-point shooting team to make the finals since the 2004 Pistons, and the Bucks are usually a pretty solid shooting team, so it seems like they're pretty much going to live and die by the three-point line, and one of the biggest players that they're going to need to step up. I'll actually end on this. I'll go with a player from each team that needs to step up for their teams to win. In order for the Bucks to win with or without Giannis, they're going to need big-time Middleton games. They're going to need Game 5 and 6 Middleton. Sorry, Game 3 and Game 6 Middleton, I believe. At least Game 6, where he went off in the third quarter. You're going to need big-time minutes from big-time everything from Middleton. And, he's been a feast or famine type of guy. And with the Suns, I think it's going to come down to Ayton, honestly, because I just expect Paul and Devin Booker to just be consistently good. I think it's going to come down to, I have faith in Ayton, that he can do it, but it's going to come down to what he can do against Giannis, Brook Lopez, and what he brings on the offensive side. If the Bucks go small, if they go big, how can he create for himself? And I think that the Suns should give him more post touches. I think that's something they learned against the Clippers. I don't know if they go right away with that against the Bucks because they will have a more traditional center out there, but I think having big time post touches for Ayton would be not big time, but I mean, like three a quarter. Like, that's not insane. I think he's deserving of that and show that he can handle that. So like I said, I don't see how you can crap on these finals. Just be happy to have basketball and that, fans are in the building and stuff like that. And, it's going to be an interesting offseason. Next season's probably going to be even better, but I'm not saying we should punt on this year already because these two teams are really good and they're both deserving, so I hate to see people crap on them. It's going to be cool to see either Giannis, Chris Paul, guys like that win their first ring. So only positives for me in my opinion. And if it is a clunker, honestly, it's like, ideally, like, while I'm a big basketball fan, I know I will enjoy this. I think a lot of us are kind of just ready for next season almost, knowing, the Warriors are going to be back, what happens in free agency, more of a normal schedule. But like I said, regardless, this will be a good finals. I look forward to it. You should as well. And don't crap on these teams because they're very deserving of being here. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you on the next video.